mean, we got DePaul at 7-0. The Big East seems fine. And I might argue that the Big East has never been better, but in all seriousness, we know that's not the case. Bad week for Creighton, bad week for UConn. Do you sort of, I think maybe, Kevin, with Creighton, you could say Ashworth missed some time, did finally come back, but you know how much of a different team they are when he's on the floor. UConn, I have bigger questions. But just where are you? Are you panicking about the state of the Big East? Once you get outside, Marquette here, what do you make of the state of the conference right now?
Yeah, look, it's easy to kind of, for each individual team, you can sort of say, they're a work in progress, right? UConn should take some time to figure things out. Creighton's got new players and is trying to fit in Zugic if he can get eligible. That could change their team. Providence hasn't had Hopkins, right? Like, you can go down the list and say, they'll be better in a month. But like, if the whole league is bad in November and December, it's not going to matter, because now all the wins won't matter when you're doing it in January and February. That to me is the big concern, right? Even if these teams do improve, which I think is quite possible, because I'm not dead on all these rosters right now. Like, I think Xavier's got talent. I think they're going to be fine. I think Creighton's going to be fine. But when you do this in the non-conference and you lay eggs against other top tier opponents pretty consistently, and even take some bad losses, like, it sets you up to not get the benefit of the doubt on Selection Sunday. And after 3 bids a year ago, this is exactly the opposite of what you were hoping for league wide. So yeah, I think the concern is very real. I think there's a clear lack of elite teams other than potentially Marquette, and even them, we still want to see it against good teams away from home. But even if Marquette is the one team carrying the torch, I mean, everybody else is relatively underachieved. Again, I guess the one exception is DePaul, sitting here at 7-0 with a big game in Lubbock against Texas Tech on Wednesday. Who would thought we would have said that? But yeah, I think there's still plenty of tournament level teams here long term. I'm just not sure they're going to earn it in November and December when it matters.
What's your state of the union on the Big East here, CJ?
Yeah, I think it's concerning, and I think that's a great point. It kind of goes back to like the Pac-12, the RIP. The past few years, like just not getting it done in the non-conference, and then you don't get very many teams in the tournament because those teams' resumes just aren't good enough, because you can't get resume building wins once you get to league play. So I still think there's probably, I think we're going to hit on this later. I still think Marquette, St. John's, Xavier are probably NCAA tournament teams. You would think Connecticut would figure it out and get there as well. But man, who'd have thunk it? Like, all these Connecticut fans have been going extremely crazy in like my comment section on my top 25 every week, because I think I've had the audacity to have a team that lost 4 starters down at number 8 or 9 in the rankings, instead of having them number 2 or number 1 because they're the champion. And it's really, really hard to replace 4 high-level starters, and we're seeing that with UConn. And I'm not going to bury UConn and say they're dead, but there's some teams in the league that just Villanova, UConn, Creighton aren't as good as what we thought probably in the preseason.
Even if they are dead, they won 2 straight championships. So I mean,
you get like a 10-year grace period after that.
Yeah, like I mean, it goes back to like if I could win 1 championship as a Memphian, I think I would take a 30-year drought after that. I would accept it. I mean, that's, again, I guess the UConn fans are going to have to, litigate that. But yeah, I would certainly make the sacrifice. All right, we're going to come back.